Need to know. This is South Florida's Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento. Tom can be reached at 561-319-5533 or Tom at trentovision.tv. Listen and watch every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN and trentovision.tv. Now, let's get a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
100 is not the number anymore, okay? If you were with us at the top of the hour, 3 o'clock hour, the magic number was 100. But it's not anymore. And
99 bottles of beer on the wall.
And we have a new guest in studio. 99 is the new number, guest. Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
I haven't got a clue.
Okay.
Haven't got a clue.
Okay.
Speak on.
Our new guest does not have a clue about life in general or about the number?
The number.
Okay. It's not 100, ladies and gentlemen. It's 99. That's the new number, okay? And you're going to stay with us. We're going to count this all the way down to 7 o'clock on November 6th, 2012. 99 hours from right now. How about that?
Brilliant.
99 hours.
Brilliant.
Can you imagine that?
Yes.
We started the show at 100 hours. We're counting it down. We're not counting the West Coast. They don't count, okay? Everything ends on the East Coast is really... I grew up on the East Coast. You grew up on the East Coast of London, right?
Yes, London, England.
Okay.
Jolly good show.
We'll introduce you in a minute. That disembodied voice has a little accent to it.
Give us your London pirate accent, Tom.
No London pirate stuff.
Hello, mate. How are you?
That's pretty good. You got to teach me. You got to assist me. I grew up on the East Coast of the United States of America, and then went to college in Chicago and thought the world slowed down by about 2 steps. You know, it was like the East Coast, you're going 100 miles an hour, and the Midwest, you're going about 85 miles an hour. Then I went to Denver. I went to school in Denver, and it was about 55 miles an hour. And it was kind of nice coming out of the East Coast craziness and hectic and all that. You know, Newark, New Jersey, that whole thing. But, you know, after a few years in Denver, you go where everybody... when I first got there, the streets... Downtown Denver, all the red lights, they all turn red at the same time, all 4 corners. And you cross diagonally. Try to do that in Manhattan or in Washington, D.C. And everybody says, hello. You know, the cowboy hat's on. I bought a cowboy hat. I bought boots. I got a gigantic bunion now because of the stupid cowboy boots I bought. But I was tired of I missed being in line at the supermarket and having a little old lady, a Jewish lady or an Italian lady, cut you off and say, I got less stuff than you, I'm going in front of you. They don't do that in Denver, right? Everybody's so nice. And I actually missed those kinds of people and blowing a horn and all that stuff. So moved back to Florida, which is really New York and New Jersey. So you're with Tom Trento, trentovision.tv. You're watching the show on your computer, your smartphones. You're listening on your smartphone, iHeartRadio, or you are listening on WNN 1470 on the AM dial. That's to the right-hand side. And our guest who was just in here who left, he's probably listening right now. Oh, there it is. Yeah, tune it in. Oh, you got it. Perfect. Way to go. So today is Activism Friday. What that means is all the stuff we teach and analyze and discuss Monday through Thursday, we put it in a contextualization of doing something, ladies and gentlemen, not just, you know, sitting back in this ivory tower on the 100th floor of the Beasley Broadcast Company here in downtown Boca. We're looking down at the pink building over at the Boca Hotel. We just don't think etherically about things. We actually do stuff, boots on the ground. And And you heard from Ruth Roman the last
classic
hour.
example,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's a hard worker. You saw Mozart, who is at every event I've ever been at and more. And now we got another guy. Let's introduce our next guy here. This is a friend of mine by Sir. We have to include the Sir title, the SUR title of the SIR. Sir Ted Seymour. Hello, welcome. Give him a big round of applause, everybody. Welcome to Trento Vision. How are you?
That's a phony, sir. That was given to me by the
It's a phony, sir.
by the tribal people up in northeast India. And don't tell Queen Elizabeth; she will be horrified.
Oh boy. Oh, okay. Well, we'll continue to call you Sir Ted.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born in England the day the Nazis invaded Poland, and remember being in an air raid shelter when I was about 4 years old and hearing the Nazi bombers come over and the ack-ack guns shooting at the German bombers and the barrage balloons, and grew up in England after the war. And I'm British, don't you know?
Yes, we hear that, yes. And the shaking of the building and the noise that you're sensing and feeling. We have another guest, Mozart, who's sitting in the back there. He's going, what the hell is going on? Is this an earthquake?
The earth move around here.
It does feel like an earthquake. Every hour on the hour on Trento Vision, just about. That's a train going
the
by,
train, yes.
shaking the building. But
Yes.
go ahead, continue.
So, and when I was 14, I used to rove the streets with a gang. My parents were working, and I saw a tent meeting, like a Billy Graham type meeting, and we decided to wreck it, destroy it. And as I was
You
pulling,
were a gangbanger.
Yes.
You got like Brooks Brothers shirt and a
good.
tie and cuffling. You were a gangbanger. Okay.
Yes. Well, I got educated and cultured and
Okay.
sophisticated.
Okay.
Well, I tried to wreck this meeting, and I was invited in, and I heard the good news of the gospel, and God got hold of my life and changed it.
Uh-oh, a wacky Christian.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
Unashamed.
So
Are you one of
close
them
to me.
born-againers?
I'm born from above.
Oh, man. 888-565-1470. If you want to talk to a wacky born-again Christian,
Right wing zealot. Yeah.
Actually-
Right-wing zealot.
actually, two of them. If you want to talk to two of them, you can today. We have Sir Ted Seymour, wacky Christian, and but a good friend of mine for many, many years. Missionary, actually, right? Go ahead, continue with your
Yes,
story.
I came to the United States on a one-way ticket to Los Angeles, and I worked in Voice of Americanism radio and TV. Dr. William Stewart McBurney, he was the conservative voice at that time. He was a brilliant...
You worked in radio?
Yes.
Let me hear you introduce me, okay? Introduce the
It
show.
is my distinct pleasure to introduce Tom Trento of Trento Vision.
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
we gotta
Duff,
record
you're
that.
done, Duff.
Duff, where you
You're
at?
fired. We got
You're
an
fired.
English...
You're out here, Duff.
We got an English voice here, man.
Give us show some class. Yeah.
This is the BBC.
It is. It's Beasley Broadcasting Company.
Oh, really?
It really is.
Here on the BBC.
So out there, I had a green card, and I worked in the Ron Reagan campaign for governor. Met him twice backstage, shook his hand, and chatted with Nancy, not realizing that I was shaking hands with the future president of the United States of America. What a thrill.
Yep.
So I've been an activist as well as a born-again Christian
For a long time.
You
for
might
a
have
long, long time.
You might be shaking the hands of another future president of the United States,
Yes.
Mr. Allen West, here pretty soon. Who knows? In the
Right,
next
yes.
few
I
years.
worked in Alan West's campaign.
But we're gonna work our way
Right.
up through all that.
You direct me.
Okay.
I'm a
okay.
dumb Englishman.
We should full disclosure, folks. Ted and I met in Spanish River Church, probably 1985, 86,
yes.
something like that. We've been friends ever since. Worked together formally in the same company. We worked together for some years, and then have been working on whether it's a Christian project or political project through all these years.
Yes.
You know, been amazing. So thanks for your friendship there, Sir Teddy's one of these guys you could always rely on. Call him up at the last second. Ted, can you help put this thing together right here? Yeah, no problem, boom. And it's a phenomenal whatever he touches, you know. And
Well,
you and
just
I,
getting the
Ted and
title,
I,
sir. Yeah.
Ted and I, in 1988,
I think so, yes.
I think it was 88, there was a big event, pro-life event. We're both pro-life people. And we worked on a book. We produced a 350 or 60-page book called Why We Stand, and that helped a lot of people, that thing.
It's gone all over the world.
All over the world, yeah. So a lot of stuff. Right now we're trying to work to save Western civilization.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your homeland. What's going on there?
Well, England used to be the center of Christian missions, William Carey and so on. And right now, when you go to London Heathrow Airport, you get off the plane and you think you're in Saudi Arabia. You see all these veiled women in black and people from all over the Middle East, and there are enclaves of Muslim communities, and then embedded all around are what's left of the British Empire. And England is on the verge of some serious problems in the future if they don't, have somebody like Margaret Thatcher come on the scene.
Did they have some no-go zones in UK now where you cannot go in there?
Yeah, police usually stay away certain areas, but there are times when they have to go in to protect the civilian population.
Yeah, some of the stories that we're hearing over there are just atrocious. They're actually setting up zones with Sharia law and actually setting. I mean, it's going into that second phase. I mean, you guys are a lot worse as far as the Sharia component than here in the United States.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Very bad. But there are pockets of hope. Hate to use that word; it's been misused by somebody. But there's pockets of hope. There's one of the largest churches in London is run by a Nigerian pastor that has 16,000 members, and there's a lot going on beneath the surface that we don't hear about or read about unless you have friends who send you emails and what have you.
We ran into one of your countrymen here in Orlando not too long ago, but a man by the name of George Galloway. Are you familiar with him?
Oh yes, George Galloway.
Yeah, he came down here and had a fundraiser for Hamas in the Orlando Mosque.
Naughty man.
And he is now, and the imam who ran the mosque is the faith-based advisor to the last governor and our current governor, Rick Scott, to a point until we help expose him and
yes.
But he hasn't been censured or punished. He's just been taken off of the faith-based advisory council.
Yes.
But George Galloway's a bad person. We actually had him banned out of the country there for a while, but Obama let him back in.
Yes, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. Along these lines of
we have a clip of the George Galloway.
Let's hang on to that for a second. We'll bring that in. Along the lines of the Islamization of England. And it's a fascinating story why that has occurred after World War II to rebuild. A deal was made with a lot of the Arab countries that you give us your oil, we'll take your workers, you can help rebuild Europe. And they said, okay, all we want is place to live, medical care, health care, and place to worship. And we got to follow our customs of having a lot of kids. Oh, yeah, no problem. Back in 1946, 47, that deal was cut. And Bat Yor has done a fabulous work of the dimitude of Europe, Eurabia. And the whole story's in there, documented unbelievably. But the net result right now is that London is a mess.
It is. You can walk down the street where I was raised, and there was a Methodist church. It's now a Hindu temple. You go further down, and you'll see a mosque. You go somewhere else, and you see some other cult. And the England that used to be Christian is a mess, as you say. It's a mess.
A lot of that is, again, I don't know if the audience knows, I have some background in this stuff theologically. And the Europe basically became secularized coming out of the 1800s.
Right.
With the advancement of science, the sciences, right? There wasn't a need for God any longer, except for those who said, wait a minute, God explains the sciences better than a secular view. But notwithstanding that, once a vibrant faith was taken out of the marketplace, then the door opens up for anything else. But from a national security perspective, what we do, I'll take the Hindus any day, right. Over Islamic people that want to blow everybody up. That's the problem. And we put out, the United West, our sister organization, we put out a video this morning that illustrates this majestically. In February of this year, the United West, a team of 10 of us, Ted, were in Israel. You ever been to Israel?
7 times.
What?
7 times.
7? You are a world traveler.
I was in Israel with the Jesus film, and I lived in Bethlehem for 6 weeks.
That must have been fun with the observant rabbis and your Jesus film.
Yep.
Maybe we'll get into some of that, but you're a world traveler.
Yeah, I've been to North Korea, Moscow.
I want to get into some of this. We're going somewhere. Yes. Watch where we go.
Yes, sir.
In Israel, we had an opportunity to interview a Christian pastor from Uganda, from Kampala, Uganda. He's a former Muslim. He's a former Dawi. He's an evangelist, a Muslim evangelist, and he got converted to Christianity. And he has a ministry that converts many Muslims to Christianity. And that ain't a good thing when there's a lot of Muslims around.
Right.
And on December 24th, 2011, walking out of his church in the evening, ready to get preparing for Christmas Sunday the next day, or Christmas the next day, 3 jihadi Muslims yelled his name, threw acid in his face.
I read about that.
And burnt his face, half his face off, yelling Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. We put the video out this morning, and it's going to go viral. It's an 11-minute story about this gentleman. And at the end, he makes a plea to Christians in America and to Jewish people in Israel not to allow Islam to take over your country. It's just... this guy has a half a... What's that?
It's a very compelling story.
Yeah, this guy has a half a face, and he's there talking to American Christians saying, you cannot let them take over. And then he speaks to the Jews and says, if you give them Gaza, they'll take Jerusalem. If you give them Jerusalem, they want Tel Aviv. If you give them Tel Aviv, they want your whole country. I would ask anybody listening, anybody driving in your automobile or listening at home, if anyone has can answer this question. And the number is 888-565-1470. Name one country or area where Sharia-compliant Islam took root and improved the country from a Western perspective. Those of us who live in the West, European-based, Judeo-Christian-based, what we understand the world to be, name somewhere where Muslims have taken over an area and have implemented their worldview, and that's a place where you'd like to go, you'd like to live, and you believe that that's a good way of life, where it's really improved life for women, life for men, life for children, productivity, freedom, respect, all of that.
Technology, culture, everything.
Anything like that. I'm very, very curious. What do we have? Who do we have on the line?
Give me 1 second. And,
all right, we're going to weave in, Sir Ted, some of our activists, because you're an activist.
What we talked about in the last hour.
You got to talk into the mic. It shouldn't squeak.
Tell Ted what we talked about in the last hour. Well, I think my next caller that I lined up for you.
The voter fraud one?
No, yeah. Well, first, actually, we're going to talk to Danita.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
He probably knows about this. Good, tell him.
Yeah. We're going to talk to Danita next, and Danita Kilcullen is head of the longest-running Tea Party, the Fort Lauderdale Tea Party. And she's a very strong, of course, you know Danita. And she's been working very, very hard for as long as I've known her. I met her, we actually met at a synagogue in Delray about 6 years ago, probably, when Alan West was running for his first campaign. Yeah, we met there, and we've been we fought many battles together since then. Danita attended and organized for people to attend the school board meeting in Broward County last night, at which CARE tried to have 2 Muslim holiday days instituted for the Broward County school system. So, so I'd like if Danita, if you're there, if you can say hi and maybe give us a follow up to the report that Ruth gave us in the last hour for those new viewers and listeners that we have this hour.
Hello there, I'm here.
Hi, Danita.
I didn't know if you had specific questions for me. I'm not sure what Ruth covered, but you know, basically, we just, I like to say that we won last night's battle. There were 30 of us present, probably a few more of in the Muslim population than we had, maybe 10 more, something like that. There were 18 people on the committee, and plus a couple of officers, and that made up the whole room. So anyway, I'm really proud, if anyone's listening, of all the people who showed up for us last night. So it was the diversity committee, and they are pushing to have these 2 holidays hooked on. And by pushing, I'm talking about Roland Folks, the president of that committee as of the last 5 years. And you probably know that Roland Folks was also the man who tried to bring CARE in to the Broward Republican Executive Committee, which also failed. People rose up against that.
Very good, very good. Were you instrumental in defeating him there as well?
At Breck?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good
absolutely.
For you.
It was overwhelming. It's kind of interesting. It was something, I don't know, there were 400 people in the room, something like that, maybe more. You know, and 11 people voted to have him voted in as a member of BREC. And it's really funny. We know exactly who they were because there were 11 of them all seated in a row, and all of their votes came in together.
And do they still attend the meetings?
Oh, those folks, yes.
Yeah.
Well, some do. Some a couple have been kicked out.
Okay.
So, but no, Nazar does not come to the meetings anymore, and I don't believe that Roland Folks comes anymore. At least I have not seen him.
Okay, well, that's a good thing.
So anyway, we, this was pre-planned. Last night was very much pre-planned. I think some people call it the Delphi something or other, where you get it all arranged ahead of time. It was very obvious. The lady, Galaza Salam, spoke for CARE, and she is the communications relations director of CARE, something like that. I mean, just brazen, unbelievable, in the state of Florida. And so she spoke first. And then they as if it were just a new motion brought up, they brought up a motion to have her extend her 3-minute time. And so she eventually got extended to 10 minutes. So the folks who I was with last night, the Tea Party, we started yelling from the sidelines that we wanted equal time. And, there were some, which is 16 minutes instead of 6 that they were going to give us. That's all. 2 people could speak. And it was so silly. They set it up so that the opponents of this Muslim holiday went first. How would we
I'm
even
sorry,
know what we were...
Did you say the opponents were supposed to go first?
Yeah, they wanted us to go first.
For what purpose? To give
they
the opposing
the
argument before the argument is made?
Before we had heard everything.
Huh.
So anyway, I mean, it was all pre-planned. It was Mr. Folks who did all of this, and he got shut down several times last night. Fortunately, there are a few level-headed and intelligent people who see fair as fair and unfair as unfair, and they came forth with some things last night. It was really good. Their head overruled their liberal heart.
Oh, my goodness.
All right, hey, Danita, this is Tom. How are you?
I'm good, Tom. How are you doing?
Good, good. We have CJ, Mark is in the studio. Ted
And you remember
Seymour.
Ted?
I remember Ted.
Of
Hi,
course.
Ted.
Hi there.
And in the back is Mortzart. He was,
Oh, well, he's my favorite,
oh, yes,
Mort's asleep.
Morty.
he's every lady's
He's
favorite.
taking a nap. He's taking a nap.
I
Okay.
know.
He just woke up, he said.
Okay.
Let's shift gears for a second, because you guys seem to have a handle on the Islamization of the Broward School District situation.
Yes, we just have to get some of us on the diversity committee as well as the school
Yeah,
board.
so you
So
get
that's
some
going to be a big
diversity
push
in
for
the
after this election.
Okay, I will volunteer. I'll be number 200 millionth in line for that
Okay.
job, okay? People do need to do it, but I would last for
And also,
5 seconds.
Steve Kane this morning, he wants to work with us on a project as far
He wants
as...
to do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I'd last 5 seconds on a board like that, But in any event, let's talk about Barack Obama and the sense you have as one of the Tea Party leaders in the country. I mean, you started the Fort Lauderdale Tea Party, which is the longest-running tea party in the world. How many weeks consistently?
Oh, geez, it's something around 300 weeks since February 2009. We have been meeting every single week since then.
Wow. Let's give her a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Every single week, every Saturday, on the corner of Oakland Park, right? Oakland
And
Park?
Federal Highway, and then we hold meetings following our 2 hours on that corner.
So it's
We've
2
had
hours.
fabulous speakers, including Tom Trento.
Oh, yes. He is pretty good. I like listening.
And the speakers from Israel and Australia, Trevor Loudon and Mark Kahlberg, and on and on and
No,
on.
you guys have done a phenomenal job. Now, this is Activist. Go ahead, just go by. This is Activist Friday, and we bring activists on, and the whole idea. We've been doing this since we started the show back in September. We've been doing this for a couple of reasons. One, to let everyone know out there what is taking place so you can participate. But more importantly, we want to introduce you to the people behind the news. A lot of the people that come in here, from Ted to Mort to Danita, they're newsmakers. They're involved in either making news or being involved in news that's being made. And a lot of times there's this divide between a regular guy in his house, a regular lady in her house, and a newsmaker. Like, oh man, they're unique, they're special. They're not. We're just normal, everyday people who see something right or wrong. What's so funny about that? Normal people. Crazy.
The word normal.
Crazy everyday
Yeah,
people.
I'm sorry.
Right.
That was all right. I take the normal back. Okay.
Abnormal.
Okay.
Yes.
AB
We're-
normal. AB
we're-
normal, right?
We're anormal. How about that? Anormal, like asymmetric. We're anormal, and you could be too, ladies and gentlemen. Look, we just see something that is just so wrong, whatever it may be. Muslims trying to get a holiday, which is phony baloney crap. The whole holiday they're talking about is nonsensical. There's 50 different countries. Half of them are terrorist countries that celebrate this thing. We're going to be celebrating terrorist holidays. So, that's just nonsensical. But you got to fight these battles. But bigger issues like the President of the United States failing the country at many levels, some of us said, we got to do something. So you jump in, whether you... And there's 99 hours left. 99 hours. Regular people are doing it. Danita, what do you see on the ground? What's going on? Is Romney going to win? And if somebody wants to volunteer one or all 99 of the 99 hours that are left till 7 o'clock on Tuesday, what can they do?
They can do many things. They can walk. They can hand out voter guides and to whatever, their favorite restaurant, their churches. They can come pick it up at Florida Family Action. That's on the corner of Tower Line and 10th Avenue, 10th Terrace, 10001 West Commercial Boulevard. They can pick up, we have boxes and boxes full of this stuff. They can come in and they can phone bank with us. And just give us a call, and we'll be happy
give
to
them a
put you
number.
to work.
Give them a number to contact you.
Okay, I'm going to give them Jack's telephone number, It is 954-815-7788.
954-815
7788.
7788. Now, if you're driving in your car, don't write it down. You can contact.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait, Tom?
Yeah.
Tom, let me give you a different phone number.
Oh, great. Confuse everybody.
954-851-2237.
Okay, that's not going to work. How about an email? Simple email? You can remember that a lot easier.
Um,
How about
That's
Tom?
what's her email.
Here, I'll give him an email. Tom at theunitedwest.org.
Okay,
Tom,
it's Jack G. Oh, you got it, Tom?
Yeah, just we'll do mine for the sake of brevity here. Tom at theunitedwest.org. If you want to get involved in the Fort Lauderdale area, my Trento Vision TV email is not working, everybody, so don't send anything to that. We got a problem with it. But send it to Tom at theunitedwest.org. Okay, Danita, anybody else have any questions for Danita before we let her go back to work?
As long as we're giving out email addresses, Danita, if people want to be on your Tea Party emailing list, where do they go for that?
Mm-hmm. The Tea Party, ftl@gmail.com.
Okay, Tea Party, F as in Frank, T as in Tom, L as in Lovely, at gmail.com?
That's it.
Okay, great.
All
Great.
right.
And the website
Good
is
Keep up the great
job
work, Danita.
yesterday. Thank you.
The British love you
Thanks a
because
lot.
of tea.
Thanks, guys.
I don't think she heard that. You guys are talking over each other. Ted.
The British love you because of tea. We love tea and we love you.
She's gone. Thank you. Okay. Speaking of tea, we have the guy from the tea country, Ted Seymour, here at 37 past the hour. We'll go to a 2. Bring these guys in, Mark. 37 past the hour. It's Activist Friday. You just heard from Danita Kilcullen, who runs the who oversees the longest running tea party in the United States of America, over 300 consistent weeks. She's simply amazing. She fights these battles, has all this energy. She's really a regular person that just said, I got to do something about this.
She's a star also with you on the Canadian.
I got more news about that today.
What? I didn't hear about it.
Mark's talking about a documentary that the Canadian Broadcasting Company made. Canadian Broadcasting Company. You know, that's going to be a fair deal. Entitled Anger in America, and they picked a handful of activists.
Of angry activists.
Of angry activists, haters. Yeah.
And she's with us. And they shot it, produced it, and we saw a little 5-minute trailer that had me in it, basically, and Nizar Hamzy. But I contacted the Canadians today, and they said there's some sort of embargo on the movie not being shown outside of Canada. But they're going to send a DVD. So we're going to get a DVD.
Okay.
Yeah, so that should be interesting. Once we get the DVD, we'll show it outside of Canada.
Well, that's going
We
up
don't
on
care.
YouTube
Yes.
real quick.
Yes, we don't care. You know, we don't
Well,
follow.
the Canadians going to sue us or something? Or what?
Yeah, we got a First Amendment right here. Let me tell you. All right, so Ted, thank you for coming on the show, and I gotta have everybody. When Ted does anything, he does it like, you know, he sends me 80 million sheets of paper and pictures. What is this stuff, Ted?
That's communicating to my support base with pictures what their support does in my ministry. I believe people don't read, they glance, and a picture tells a story. So I use my camera like Mort does, and that communicates what happens when I go over to India, Dubai. I snuck a few pictures in North Korea, China. Communication.
You do. He does excellent work. It's all 4-color, glossy, 60-pound paper. I mean, it's really first-class stuff, and it should be because we both work together at an ad agency.
Absolutely, yes.
Making this sort of stuff. So you better do it good. Years ago. That was years ago. Mm-hmm. So you're a Christian minister.
Right.
You go share the gospel and do all that wherever you're invited to all these different places. People, if they want to donate to you, how do they do that?
They do that by making a check to Active Outreach, and it's sent to my home office address.
Just give them an email.
Email Ted Seymour.
That's the camera over there. See if you could.
I'm at,
yeah, but you got to talk
this
into the
is
mic
Ted.
too.
I'm
But you got to
at,
talk into the
Throw
mic.
the mic.
You got to turn the mic, and it's tricky. It's tricky business here.
Hello. I'm Ted Seymour. Send your contributions to Active Outreach, and my email is tedseymour@comcast.net.
There it is.
SEYMORE?
No, Ted Seymour, SEYMOUR, like Jane Seymour, the actress.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Comcast.net.
And if you're a large donor, Ted will have you up on his estate on the ocean in Boca Raton. You have, what, a 40,000 square foot
No, I have a little 3-bedroom house, all paid for. In Boca Raton.
You're breaking my heart.
That.
Yeah, you didn't build that. You didn't
All
pay
paid
for that.
all paid for.
You're breaking my heart. All paid for. I don't know what that means. All right, now, you do all your Christian work, which is fabulous. Let's talk about your political work in Palm Beach County. What have you been doing are you working for the campaign? Are you a freelancer? What's going on?
I'm on the Republican Executive Committee of Palm Beach County, and there's about 250 of us, and I've seen it grow and grow and grow with disenchanted Democrats who've come and joined us.
Oh, you're kidding.
It's incredible. And there's African Americans, there are Haitians, there are Hispanics, people from Venezuela who've migrated here, and we have embedded within that committee dozen Christians. Our chairman is Sid Dinestein, who is Jewish, and he insists that we open each meeting in prayer.
You're kidding.
We may have a rabbi, may have an evangelical like me, and I've been active in the Republican Executive Committee. The other activity, I was in the Allen West campaign, and both entities, and we were part of the faith-based coalition, and that impacted and penetrated the Jewish community, the Catholic community, and the Protestant community, and those in between. Wow. All this activity made a great penetration, and Allen West is where he is today, because little people like us got active.
I remember you put together a pastor's breakfast for Allen that was just fabulous. About 100 people, leaders in the community.
Yes.
You ever run across voter fraud?
No, I'm a poll watcher. I've been in 3 polls, and they've been boring, friendly type environments. And I always take them a dozen donuts first thing in the morning and make friends.
You bribe them, okay.
Yes.
But listen to this. CJ ran across an interesting situation. She's going to explain it. We're going to bring somebody on.
Okay.
We'll keep our eye on the clock here, and then we'll end.
I'm going to be very brief about this because it's quite detailed. But at least 2 polling workers in Broward County were fired over the past week. Allegedly for partisan political activities, 1 Democrat and 1 Republican. The Democrat was the site manager, and the Republican was the victim.
Oh.
Okay, and she observed firsthand some severe irregularities at the Broward County Main Branch Library on Andrews, and reported it and complained, and called several campaigns to alert them that this was taking place, and subsequently was fired on the 4th day of her 8-day tenure as a poll worker. And so this lady has been calling as many people as she can to alert them to what's happening, and has a very interesting action point for us at the end of all this of how she thinks that we need to move forward in upcoming elections. And her name is Christine. And Christine, are you with us?
I am just fine. How are you?
Hi, Christine. How you doing?
Well,
Thank you for holding.
I'm having fun just listening to the other speakers.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, you're our speaker now, and you heard me give a very brief outline. I know your information and your background is quite extensive, so I didn't want to take up too much time with that. But if you can tell us, basically sum it up for us in about a minute.
Oh, I got it together.
Yeah,
first, I'd like
just
to
basically sum it up in about a minute, and then give us your thoughts of how we need to correct the situation so we don't have this problem in future elections.
Well, I'd like to first just quickly address the poll watcher.
There are some things that poll watchers can't see, even though they're sitting right there. There are some things that are hidden. And one of the things I was concerned about was the violations of Florida Statute 101.051. That's where they come in to get assistance from the SOE to fill out their ballots. I was concerned that that was just wrought with corruption, and I was concerned that the site manager was telling people how to vote. The main goal was to take down the amendments and to take down the Republican agenda and to make sure that her nephew is Christopher Chris Smith.
Here it is.
To make sure that people didn't get him mixed up with the Republican Christopher Smith Meyerson.
Yeah.
Okay, are you speaking about Christopher Chris Smith in the Florida State Senate?
Yes, the person in the paper, Gladys Rich, she told me that that's her nephew.
So your supervisor at the polling station is the aunt of Florida State Senator Christopher Smith, and you say that she was trying to steer people to vote for him?
That's what she was doing.
My God.
This is the same Chris Smith we ran into up in Tallahassee,
Yes.
and who was the big supporter of Ahmed Badir and the Muslim American Laws for American Courts, and one who said also that America, is a racist country and everything else like that. Yeah, big Democrat.
The only way I would agree that it's racist, you got to understand, as an African-American Republican, I can tell you there's just as much racism in this thing as it is on the black side as it is on the white side. I'll tell you from what I could observe, about 70% of the Broward SOE election workers are African-American women, and they mostly, all of them know each other. And from what I could see in that office where I was at, what they were doing is all orchestrated. It seems to be some sort of takedown, the agenda thing of the Republicans. That's what it looks like. They wanted the amendments to go down. They wanted anything that was Democrat to stand. It was like some scheme to take over the election by fraudulent means. When they did the assistance form, that was all done all incorrectly, unlawfully. When you do those assistance forms, there are 4 lines that must be filled out. The first line is the name of the person who wants the assistance. The next is 2 electors, 1 Democrat and 1 Republican. And the next line is done where the person signs their signature. Then the final line is the sworn to line that has to be done by an administrator before you can move forward and assist the person. None of that occurred in about 95% of the cases. And I know that it didn't occur because on the day they fired me, they handed me a stack of them to fill out to sign the sworn statement that I had witnessed that. Now, of course, I didn't fill that out.
They gave you blank forms to sign
no, they weren't blank.
After they used them to help guide these supposedly handicapped or language challenged voters.
Well, there's an issue there. None of them that I saw were basically physically handicapped, and there shouldn't have been a language barrier because it was in English, Spanish, and Creole. So if it's in your language, why do you need help? I just thought that the whole thing was all a big setup. It looks like it's a network of women throughout each campaign office. They all know each other, and they have absolutely no intention of getting anybody through that election if they're not Democrat. That's all that I can tell you about it. And I will tell you this, the worst thing I ever saw. One of the little people who was helping the Creoles, she actually would hold their hand, and you could see her guiding their hand to bubble it. You could see her picking up their hand, taking it to each bubble she wanted, and you could see her doing this. I observed this several times. After observing that several times and observing that those forms, 101.051, were not filed properly, and after I dealt with the site manager and her shenanigans, I just told him on Monday that I was not going to be able to work in a place like that because I cannot work where there's dishonesty. That was around 9:30 in the morning, and at 3 that afternoon, I noticed no one had came to see me because they had explained to me that someone is going to come and talk to you. No
Okay,
one can.
Christine, we're going to have to move a little bit quicker.
Okay.
If you could just
Well,
let
hang
me.
on one second. What we want to do right now is introduce another element here, Christine.
Okay.
And the audience. This is very important for you viewers and listeners. Tom Trento, Trento Vision. We're at 10 minutes to the top of the hour to 5 o'clock on the East Coast, WNN 1470, TrentoVision.tv. We have Christine on, who was fired this week as from one of the Broward.
It was at the Broward County main branch of the library.
Main branch of the library. She was employed and witnessed irregularities called voter fraud, ladies and gentlemen. And
she was caught alerting the campaigns, which is why she got fired.
So we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
We're going to try to here, but you mentioned Chris Smith, who is the nephew of the woman that was the manager.
So she explained.
Right. Well, we want to show, because our show deals with national security and foreign policy, these sort of things, and also the protection of our homeland from the Islamic invasion. We were up in Tallahassee in February, or April, I believe it was, where there was a vote on American laws for American courts, and your Chris Smith was there supporting Muslims who were trying to shut down a law that would stop Sharia law from coming into Florida. Everybody just listen and watch this 30-second little piece right here.
Okay.
The Constitution was written by racist slave owners, so who cares? The Constitution was written by slave holders, and even some of our I said racist slave holders. If you own a person, that's not distracting. If you own a person, I believe that is racist.
So there's that was Chris Smith talking about the Constitution.
So he's trying to help them?
He was helping the Muslims stop Florida from passing a law that would prohibit Sharia law in Florida. So this story is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, but let's get back to CJ asking you some questions. We just have a few minutes.
But anyway, that lady, the aunt of Chris Smith, actually got fired as well.
She got fired,
it was a bipartisan firing.
Oh, boy.
Because first they fired Christine, and then so they don't seem to be negatively partial against the Republicans, they went and found a Democrat scapegoat to fire as well.
No. She wasn't the scapegoat. She is the site manager. Everything that goes on in there is her responsibility.
No, I'm saying from the point of view of the Democrats, they consider her to be a scapegoat, unfairly fired, just to balance out a Republican getting fired.
Oh, interesting. So where do we go? We got about 2 minutes
left. How do we fix this for future elections?
I will explain to you people, throughout Broward County, the fix is on against the amendment, against the Republicans, and against anything that Republicans do, especially Mr. Romney and the amendments. They are going to take them down if they can. And I don't like it because it appears that it's orchestrated. Now, we understand in the private sector, they're always going to do stuff like this. But when this is being done from within the SOE, I think it's time for the FBI to come in and investigate every single day of the early voting in Florida, especially in Broward County. I saw too many irregularities. They were bringing in too many people call themselves Creoles and having them get assistance when they were not in any bad shape at all. They could have done it themselves.
Christine, should we have some independent polling workers the next time instead of people who are?
For one thing, they got to be better trained.
Okay.
They got to be trained because all of this stuff was going on right in front of their faces.
Well, that's because they let it happen.
We're getting up against the clock. Let's have her back on Monday. I think we're going to pursue this issue, and we're gonna give you a call to see if we can have you back on Monday.
Oh, sure, I'd be more than happy to, because we only got a few more hours to go.
That's right. We're counting down, Christine. Okay, we're going to take a break now.
Not yet, Ted. No? We got about a minute left.
Right.
We want to. You're our special guest, and we want to close on your challenge to people to get involved.
Christine, if you're still listening. Palm Beach County, our training in polling is very thorough. We know the law. I'm going to be a poll watcher. And we have a new system. All of the poll watchers will call a toll-free number up in Tampa, and there will be 100 people on the phone banks. And if there's any fraud or any activity that's not right, they will dispatch attorneys to the trouble spots.
Beautiful.
Romney attorneys to deal with it immediately.
So, Ted, you got 30 seconds. What can people do to get involved?
Talk to your friends and your neighbors, and just keep yakking until the 99 hours are up.
Now it's 98 hours. 98 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Trento.
God
Trento
bless
Vision.
America, even though I'm British.
Yes, yes.
But I'm an American citizen.
There you go,
see?
there you go. Thank you, Ted. Let's give Ted a hand for being here. Tom Trento, Trento Vision, WNN 1470. And we will be back just a little bit after the top of the hour. Thank you.